This is Dr.T Vara Lakshmi. I'm going to be discussing with you the cost analysis and cost concepts as a part of this business economics and financial analysis. Cost. In the common usage, we everywhere use the term called as cost. It is very costly. It is very cheap in cost, like this. So, which means the expenditure which is incurring by a person in getting of any product, that may be a good or service, then it is called as the cost. In managerial economics also, it is very important concept to be known by the producer, because as a marketer or the manager, he has decided which products has to produce based on the demand forecasting, and he has produced the good based on the productional function, application of the productional function and elements. The next thing is, before going to fix a price to that particular product, he must know how much expenditure it is cost for him to get that particular product, so that easily he can fix a price to that product. So in fixing of a price, before going to have the better analysis of the profitability levels by the organization, it is mandatory that how much of expenditure that is incurred by the producer on a particular product, that is going to be discussing under the cost concept. So because the cost is the monetary value or the worth giving by a product, a producer or the customer to the good or services which they are all going to be consuming or purchased. So this analysis of the cost is more important for the management to take the decision of cost controlling, cost reduction and cost computation, which means how much of expenditure they have done. If they analyze, then it is called as the cost computation. And if sometimes if they are all spending more on that one, they can reduce that one. And if any overflow is there, spending, if they are unnecessarily, if they are spending out anywhere, they can control over that expenditures. So to have this managerial decisions, the manager should know what is the cost and what is its impact on the productional elements, because cost is a measurement of alternative opportunities foregoing or expecting for the organization, and also for the consumer's point of view, it is the his expenditure level and it is his savings deciding point for the income which he has earned. So that's why cost analysis is the key factor for every producer. Once if we see the types of the costs in the organization, there are many bases are all there for the categorization of the costs in every productional level. According to the elements, that is at the productional level, whatever they are all using, that is categorized into three elements: material cost, service cost and labor cost. So which means let us say a mobile phone is manufactured. For that mobile phone manufacturing, the material for that plastic, all the inner circuits, technology, whatever they are all using, softwares, operating systems, and the outer box, battery level, everything, materials, whatever the cost which is they are spending, if they accumulates that material appearance of the product, then that cost will be called as the material cost. Then additional services or which is adding to that particular product expenditure is separates, then it is called as the service cost. So that is after that one, they for the carriage inboards and outboards, they will pay some charges for this. They have purchased the raw material and they have kept in the storage. From that one workplace, they have given some for attendancy, that is supportive administrative supports, as well as the attendancy supports that has incurred on that particular product will be called as the service cost. and the skilled labor's expenditure will be called as labor cost, which means how many workers worked for the manufacturing of that products, how many hours they have worked, and what are the wages that is paid to the labor. That human resources expenditure in producing of a particular product is called as the labor cost. The next level of the next classification of the cost is according to the variability. According to the variability in the expenditure, it is categorized as fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. The cost which changes as per the time period but not as on the basis of the level of the output, then that cost will be called as the fixed cost. For example, in a particular room or in a particular unit, the organization is paying 10,000 rupees of rent for that products which are manufacturing in that one. And based on their demand, one day they may produce 10 products, the second day they may produce the 2,000 products, 3,000 products, whatever it is. But the same rent they will pay, it is fixed. That expenditure will be called as the fixed expenditures. Like in our house also, house rent which we are paying, that is as well as the any other bills which are constantly we are paying, then it is called as the fixed expenditure for a family. But in our family, based on the number of units electricity we have consumed, based on that one only we will pay the power bill, not based on the other element. So that is called as the variable cost, or based on the number of the people we will consume the rice for the family. That is called as the variable cost, which means the cost that changes as per the number of the outputs. For example, 1 kilo of the material is using for the production of one chair, 1 kilo or 2 kilos of wood is using for the production of a bench. Then for 2 benches, 4 kilos of that one. 3 benches, 6 kilos of the material they will use, which means the number of the expenditure which is incurring on the product is simultaneously changing as per the number of units which are producing by the producer. Then that expenditure will be called as the variable cost. Up to certain level, if it is fixed and also it is adding the variable cost, then it is called as semi-variable or semi-mixed cost. It is also called as the mixed cost. For example, a salary paying to the marketing person, basic salary 10,000, and the target, if he sells 10% of the products, his bonus will be given to that particular employee, means some level it is fixed and it is adding the variable expenditure. So that combination of the fixed and variable cost will be called as semi-variable cost. So according to the variability in spending of the amount on the particular product, they are categorized into fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. Then next level of the classification is according to the normality. So normality means normal cost and abnormal cost. So normal cost means the expenditure which is incurring by the producer for the general activities. Then the unexpected elements, if he is spending for then any situation, then that cost will be called as abnormal cost. For example, normally the wages should be payable by for the labor for his work, then that is the normal cost. Unfortunately, the person has lost his he became physically handicapped or slipped down at the particular productional area, then the organization has to pay certain compensation to that employee for his well healthness, everything. That is an unexpected thing. So for at uneventual situations, if the organization has to pay any expenditures, that will be called as abnormal cost. So according to the normality, they may be the normal cost and abnormal cost, which means the cost which are spending as per the planning, or if abnormally or uneventually, uncertainly, if they are able, if they have to pay any expenditures, then that will be called as abnormal cost. Next classification of the cost is according to the traceability, that is divided into two elements, direct cost as well as indirect cost. Directly, if a product is going to be revealing the material of the that material involved in the production of the product and easily able to identify that one, then it is called as the direct cost, and particularly to that product it is assigned. Then if it is unable to trace that cost, then it will be called as the indirect cost. For example, the direct material, direct labor, as well as the overheads cost which is involved in producing of a product can easily traceable. They all will be called as the direct cost. In a producing of a bench, the labor which is preparing that bench, how much of wages they have paid, for the material which is using for that bench, how much of cost they have paid, everything they can easily know. But that particular benches belongs to Neel Kamal chairs and they have given the advertisement. That advertisement cost is for the benches as entire Neel Kamal range of the products. They are all giving that advertisement. It is not possible to trace that that advertisement expenditure only for the benches or for the chairs or for the sofas, etc. It is not possible for them because they have given for the brand advertisement and they're not given for one product basis. If they have given for only one product, that might be traceable, but combinedly if they have given for all the products, it is not possible to traceable for them. As a financial manager for all the entire company, he will works. He is not particular about one product. So that's why the administrative expenditures as well as this advertisement expenditures and the elements will not be traceable or will not be able to assign to one particular product, except the material, labor and overheads cost which is incurring on the product only can be traceable. Others may be combinedly used for the entire production. So that is the differences between the direct cost and indirect cost based on the traceability of the cost in that particular product. Then the next level of the cost classification is according to the planning and controlling level of the products. So which means as per the planning and controllability, if they plan what to spend and how to spend, then that is called as budgeted cost. And without, there is no need of the planning, already it is mandatorily if they have to pay that one, then it is called as the standard cost. So for example, any fixed elements are all there for the organization. Some might be avoidable, some might be plans, and some might be has to compulsory spend by the organization. Let us say in our government, the government will plan for the states where has to introduce the educational institutions, where has to establish the hospitals and everything, they can plan. So that's why they will include under the budgets. But for the salaries which they are all paying to the already existing employees and for the defense mechanism, they need not to budget. They have to spend that amounts. If there is no separate requirement of the planning, actually they have to, whatever they want to spend, they have to spend. The remaining amount only they will plan where to spend based on the growth basis and expansion basis. So the compulsory expenditures by the producer of the organization is called as a standard cost, and the remaining amount based on the expansional basis and scope basis amount which is planning by the producer is called as the budgeted cost. The next level of the classification of the cost is according to the function. According to the function, it is categorized as manufacturing or productional cost, administrative cost, selling cost, distribution cost, research and development cost. If right from raw material purchasing to the finished good level, the expenditure which is incurring by the producer is called as the manufacturing cost or the productional cost. After that one, they need the administration expenditure will be incurs that one. For all this one, they have planned, they have a product is designed, they have administered, the labor and employees will recruited, all or the office level expenditure will be if adds to that manufacturing or the factory level expenditure, then that will be called as the administrative cost. Then for the selling cost, so choosing of the market and market surveys, if they expect they spend any amount, then that is cost will be called as selling cost. And the cost which is incurring for the distribution channels, that is logistics, transportation, retailers, wholesalers, discounts which they have provided, etc., will be comes under this distribution cost. That is after production, whatever they are incurring for that one. And once if they have done the sales, based on the feedback, if they want to do any modifications and innovations in the product, for that one, the amount which is spending is called as research and developmental cost. So the total level of the process from right from purchasing of the goods, raw material stage to the end sales, and the changes in that particular product expenditures are all called as, according to the functions divisional wise, it has divided, that is manufacturing cost, administrative cost, selling, distribution, R&D cost, etc. The next level of the classification of the cost is according to the controllability. If the expenditure incurring by the producer is able to stop at any certain level of the overflow, then it is called as controllable cost. And if it is unable to control that cost, then it will be called as uncontrollable cost. So, for example, the organization is facing the problem of the organization has lost through this natural disasters, and one of the offices has collapsed. Then definitely they have to establish certain they have to expenditure, they have to spend on that one. That is called as uncontrollable cost. And if the office is going to be planning a function, so due to that, due to the over cost, they can postpone that function, or they can postpone any of the event and the expenditure which is incurring on that event. Then the expenditure on that one will be called as controlled cost. So like this, in every productional level also, on certain products, main products, they can't control. Compulsory they have to purchase, even the price of that product is increased. Then that is called as uncontrollable cost. And if at all any colors and the flavors which is adding to that product, if that prices is increased, they can replace with another one. Instead of the increased priced color, they can take the another color or the flavor, additional coatings, etc. They can replace with another material. So then the expenditure which is incurring on that one will be called as controllable cost. So the costs which are able to postpone or the stop is called as controllable cost. The costs which are unable to control or unable to stop is called as the uncontrollable cost. The next level of the classification of the cost is according to the time period. It is categorized into historical cost and predetermined cost. So from the past onwards, like last year, last 1 month, or last years onwards, continuously they are spending that one, then that will be called as historical cost. And the cost which they are going to be spending in the future with a predetermined element, then that is called as predetermined cost. So, for example, the cost which is paying on the particular products, employees, labor, material, which are all historically they are paying, now also they have to pay. That is called as historical cost. And this time they want to change the shape of that particular product. For this one, new shaping, designing machinery they want to purchase. So that is the predetermined as per the design changes of the product. Then the cost incurring on that designing machine will be called as predetermined cost. Then the next level of the classification of the cost is according to the management decisions. It is marginal cost, differential cost, opportunity cost, replacement cost, imputed cost, and sunk cost. Marginal cost means the difference between one level of expenditure to the next level of the expenditure is called as a marginal cost. Previously they spent 100 rupees. This time they are spending 150 rupees on the same product, which means 50 rupees of increasing in the marginal cost. Previously they have spent 100 rupees. This time if they are able to spend 80 rupees means 20 rupees of gaining in the marginal cost. So that is the difference between the two consecutive expenditures is called as the marginal cost. So that the manager will take the best decision. Previously they have spent 100 rupees, this time 80 rupees, which means marginally 20% of savings are all there in the expenditure. So the manager will take the decision of go with the 80 rupees of production expenditure for that particular product purchasing. Next, differential cost. This based on the quality and the quantity, the differentiate variability in one product price to another product price is called as differential cost. But they wants to take two type of material, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is 100 rupees and the type 2 is 110 rupees. That is the differential between one based on the category of the product, then that is called as differential cost. So if they go for this, any of these two are suggestible for the productional, then the difference benefits which they are gaining is called as differential cost. Then opportunity cost is the next best level of getting more benefits by the producer is called as the opportunity cost. For example, if the producers purchases the 100 units of the products, same transportation he has to pay, and even if he purchases 200 products, the same transportation cost he will incur, as well as if for 100 products there is no discount, and for 200 products if he purchases, there is a saving of 20% discount on the next level of the purchasing the units, then he is getting the opportunity of 10% more profit, more discount on the purchasing of next level of output, as well as he is also able to save the transportation expenditure also. So that is his opportunity for the next best level of purchasing or the expenditure for the product, that is called as the opportunity cost. That if any old element is going to be replacing with a new element, then the additional cost which is incurring on that one is called as a replacement cost. Let us say the old printing machinery cost of 5,000 is replacing with a new printing which of 15,000, which means he is replacing 10,000 additional expenditure for that product. That is called as the replacement cost. The next thing is imputed cost. So because of that impact of that one, another any additional elements which is attached to the product is called as imputed cost. If a machinery is there, because of that machinery, maintenance, AC expenditures, storage expenditures, the service charges which are all attached to that one, the cost will be called as the imputed cost. So sunk cost means the expenditure which is incurring by the producer that never gains again is called as the sunk cost. So they are all spent and not able to again get back that one, that is called as the sunk cost. So the cost which is incurring for the any repairs and maintenances, modifications, etc. may not get back, but they have to spend, obviously they have to spend for that one, that is called as the sunk cost. So that is the various kinds of the costs and their classifications based on certain basic elements. The next level of understanding the cost is cost cost relationship with the output of the production, because this is the knowledge that gives the control over the cost and to predetermine the expenditure levels, as well as pricing and promotional activities can also be easily understood with the help of the knowledge of cost and output relationship. So the cost and output relationships will give the information of what are the number of the expenditures which are involved in the total cost of a product is called as the cost output relationship. So whereas it is mathematically expressed with the formula of cost is equals to function of size of the plant as well as price of the inputs, technological levels or output levels, etc. And based on that one, if the cost is incurring, then the cost is the function of all the involving elements. So best example, if a product cost is 100 rupees, so in that 100 rupees, material cost is 20, 10 rupees is in the form of the tax, 10 rupees is in the form of the administrative expenditures, labor expenditures, plant. So like this, various costs combinations, if they plots, then that is the relationship between the cost and output. This cost and output relationship will be explained in two ways. One is cost output relationship in short run and another cost output relationship in the long run. That is cost to the output relationship in the within 1 year time period, as well as the cost and output relationship in the long run, that is 2 years, 3 years, up to 10 years, the changes in this inputs levels and its impact on the total expenditure of the product will be explained with the help of cost output relationship in the long run. So in the cost and cost output relationship of the short run will more concentrates on total cost of the product. The total cost of the product includes the total fixed cost as well as the total variable cost. The total variable cost, total fixed cost are the two basic elements of the total cost, and this is the main concentration for the productional levels estimation at short run level. So that is the cost or the money which is spending to produce a particular quantity of a product is called as the cost output relationship in the short run. If we observe this particular tabular representation, the output level at base level, assume that it is a base and the next level of increasing quantity is going to be explaining with the help of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. At this base level, the total cost incurring for the product is 1200 and which includes 300 rupees of the fixed cost. The remaining is variable cost. If the number of output is increased to 1, then the total cost is increased to 1800 and here one variable cost output relationship here we are discussing. So the fixed cost is 300, variable cost will be 1500. So that average they have increased this 300, average fixed cost is increased by 300 and total cost is increased by 1800 and average variable cost is 1500 and marginal cost is, when compared to here, so 1200 to 1800, 600 difference is there. That is the marginal cost. Then if the output level is changed to 2, then the expenditure total cost is changed to 2000 rupees and whereas the fixed cost is same and total variable cost is 1700 and fixed cost is 150. So average fixed cost means 300 divided by 2 output. 300 divided by 2 is 150 and average total cost is, average of the total cost 2000 divided by 2 is 1000 and average variable cost 2000 divided average variable cost 1700 divided by 2, that is 850. So that the marginal cost is increased is 200. The marginal cost is increased is 200. So like this, so this is the various levels of the output changes and the level of the total variable cost, total fixed cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost as well as the marginal cost. So once if we see this one, the graphical representation of this one, so the blue line will indicates the average fixed cost. Average fixed cost up to certain level it is reduced, but then most of the cases it is constant, and later the average fixed cost levels will be increases. But the average total cost will be, first cost is reducing means a good sign for the organization. Cost is reducing, but later it will become constant. And the marginal cost is also, first cost reduces and the next level it will become constant and it will be reduces also. So that is the cost output relationship in the short run. So generally in the short run, most changes will be occurs in the variable cost than the fixed cost, because fixed cost will be constant in the short run. The rent whichever they are paying, machineries cost, etc. will be same. Land, machineries, rent, etc. will be same. Only the material cost will be changes. That's why in a short run, more changes we can observe at the variable cost levels than the fixed levels. But if it goes to the long run relationship under the cost output relation, here everything will be called as a variable. Here they might want to change the another land, they want to establish another unit for the production. So even the fixed cost will also be changes and variable cost mostly be constant. So that is the long term period that gives a sufficient time to the business managers to change even the scale of the production levels are also as per the demand that is prevailing in the market. So this is a graphical representations that gives the total changes in the variable cost as well as the fixed cost with the short term average cost and its impact on the long term elements of the cost output relation. The significance of the cost output relationship is very important one. Because of this cost output relationship, it gives the analysis of ascertaining the expenditure which is incurring on the production, and they can control betterly where they are giving more expenditures. And it is also useful in decision making, that is whether they can buy or not, whether they can retain the same place or they replace with another new one, or continue the business activities, or can they shut down that business unit, can they accept that particular order or not, can easily known with the help of this cost analysis. And for the selling price fixation also, cost analysis is very important one. Based on the expenditure only they can fix a best price to the product. And best inventory control can also be possible with the cost output analysis. In the cost output analysis, it is showing more variation, then easily they can stop purchasing of the products which are giving burden for the productional elements. And any cost if they want to reduce, they can easily identify what is the controllable and uncontrollable cost, avoidable and non-avoidable cost can easily understand with the help of this cost output relation. And measurement of the efficiency, that is with less cost if they are able to produce the maximum products, or the high cost are they spending, can easily estimates with the help of this cost relation. And as well as this preparation of the budgets. So how much of amount they have to spend, where has to spend, what are the returns can be easily known by having the knowledge of cost analysis. And identification of unprofitable activities can easily known, and identification of material losses, and where they are all lagging, what is the ideal times, where is the ideal capacities, where the labor is not working, what is the gap between the production to the next level of that one, can they reduce that one or not. And the productivity proficiencies can also be identified, and comparison of one companies with another organizations, and the comparison of one unit cost to another unit cost can easily known with the help of this cost output relationship. So that is the benefit of the cost output relationship. And with this cost analysis, there is a more scope for the getting of more profits by the producer. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.